right, hey everyone. So this is the Trojanators, and we're starting a brand new podcast called Inside First. Basically, we're going to be going through the robotics season, talking everything first, whether it's with the schedule, with the game, the different levels of first, a bunch of different events in first, and we hope you're going to enjoy the ride. I'm Thomas Franco.
I'm Luke Crum.
And I'm Nick Crum.
And we're going to be your main hosts for the podcast. We'll also occasionally bring in guest stars from different teams, alumni, mentors, whoever wants to get in. So if you want to get involved, definitely check out our Discord server and our Twitter page. And let's get into it. So first, pun not intended, I'd like to recap the 2018 game. So Nick, Luke, how did you guys like Power Up?
I thought it was a really good game. It had a lot of strengths, but also had a couple of things that I didn't like all that much. So things I did like, I liked that it was a lot more exciting to watch for like people in the stands. So compared to Steamworks, like that was kind of boring. You know, you just watch the robots feed the gears on. But this, there was like this big giant thing in the middle that was like teetering on the edge. There was like stuff flying through the air, falling off, things like that. But then some things I didn't like. Basically, once a match was run away, there was kind of no getting it back. Compared to Steamworks, again, there was, if you could just like get a ton of fuel or a lot of gears at once, you could really bring a match back from the pits. And then this game kind of, if there's like 6 cubes on the side of the scale and your switch is gone.
Yeah, if you had the scale early on, you had the match
like there's basically nothing you can do at that point. But
so after about 100 seconds, the game would be over.
Yeah, unless it was like really close.
Yeah. Something else I liked about Power Up is that it was easier for low resource and rookie teams to make a robot that was compatible with it, because last year in Steamworks it was kind of hard. The gears were oddly shaped, and it was kind of difficult for rookie teams to figure out a way to get that gear and actually put it on the prong that lifts it up. But Power Up, you can make literally a dump truck where you feed from the human player station and put it right on the scale. And that's what we did this year, and it worked out really successful for us.
And I even saw a video on YouTube. It was just a chassis bot, and what they did was they were able to fill the entire exchange within about, this wasn't during a real match, they were on a practice field, but they were able to fill the entire exchange with 9 cubes in about half the match, like half the time the match would have been. So that just shows even if you had just a chassis bot, you could play either really strong defense and you were able to really turn a match, or you could score a lot into the exchange with just a chassis.
And defense was a huge factor this year, even more than Steamworks, because you could block someone from getting cubes on your switch or your scale, and it really turned the fate of the match.
And also offense, which this year the example would be attacking the opponent's switch, was a big thing. Again, in Steamworks there wasn't a whole lot you could do to do offense, really. But this year, it was a lot better.
Yeah, I'd say the one thing I didn't really like about Steamworks was the fact that it was way too complex. Like this year, I felt the game was a lot more simple because at Steamworks, there was such a big difference between the points, between the gears and the fuel, that very few teams even used the fuel. Like I think one team from Hawaii had like a really good fuel exchange, and that was it. Like I didn't see anyone else do any fuel. Yeah. So that's the one thing I liked. And also the end game with the rope, that was very hard and very confusing for a lot of teams. Yeah. This year, just a
bar.
Yeah, the bar to reach up to and pull. I mean, obviously it's still got its challenges, but it's less difficult than like making a wench system. Yeah. Obviously, we had a lot of problems with our wench system back in 2017.
Steamworks, yeah.
But
that wasn't even the hardest climb in history. That was like aerial assist, where you had to go through the 3 bars. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
no,
crazy.
my favorite one, I don't know what year it was, but it was the year with the scale, or not the scale, but it was
where
like
you had to balance the 3 robots.
You have the 3 robots balance on.
Which game was that?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I remember
that was a really cool one.
Yeah, that was always fun seeing the robots one fall off and you got to like get back on.
Some teams had a bar that would like balance them out.
Yeah. It could push down.
That was cool.
Yeah, so that's what I liked about.
Yeah.
So I like Power Up way better than Steamworks.
So going back to the whole simplicity of the game, it also really helped if somebody like didn't know what any of this was. It's a whole lot easier to explain to them. You put cubes on your side to balance it out, and you get points when it's turned in your favor compared to Steamworks. Oh, you feed gears to the thing to make the rotors spin. You also put fuel in, but you don't really need fuel. It was just really convoluted to explain, I think. But then Power Up, you could explain it in like 30 seconds, and they would get it, and they'd be able to watch a match and understand what was going on.
See, but that's like a unique thing to this year's game. I feel like 2019's game is going to be similar to Steamworks, in which you don't have seconds per points. You have or points per second. You have one objective that you have to put for points. Because this was a really unique game, and I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, so that actually is a good transition point because we were going to talk about the recap or predict some of the stuff that could be in the 2019 game on Chief Delphi. Lucas 2021 from Eagle Imperium, team 3322, put up this thing, a first letter with some possible hints that first is dropping to us. So it says, it was in the Name the Planet letter. It talks about, here I'll just read it off. So Destination Deep Space, presented by the Boeing Company, brings us to a planet in deep space that is as mysterious as it is inhospitable. This lifeless planet presents many challenges. Its atmosphere is toxic, its ever-changing landscape is dangerous and unpredictable, and it has no name. Would you like to name it? So we don't really need to get into the name part, but two things we can take away from this. Ever-changing landscape and the toxic atmosphere. So what I'm thinking, it's going to be kind of like a stronghold year.
Yeah, that's the first thing that popped into my head was those defenses. I think that's what they were called, with Stronghold.
But I think, we weren't, our first year in first was Steamworks, but
Steamworks.
Going back into just looking at some of the Stronghold stuff, that the defenses didn't change. They stayed there the whole time, so you could plan ahead. This year, I think they're going to have...
Changed. Maybe they did.
Did they change?
Yeah, they changed
Yeah,
everything.
Oh, they did.
I think they did randomize.
Yeah,
they did. Okay.
The toxic atmosphere, that makes me think of it makes me think of Recycle Rush, where you can't touch the other opponent's side or else that's a penalty.
Well, what I'm thinking is each robot's going to have like health. So there can be like a safe zone like inside the rocket and then an unsafe zone like outside the rocket. So for a given match, you're only allowed to be outside this area for like 30 seconds, and maybe that's where the game pieces are going to be. So you have to rush out really quick, get as much as you can, as quick as you can, rush back in, feed it wherever you got to feed it. I mean, that's what I was thinking.
On what you're saying, Luke, you're going down on the thread. This one username, Loveless, says that the ever-changing toxic landscape, it's like restricted areas at different times, so it rotates through. So it'll be like protected zones for just like not for a specific team, but for either alliance. And then it can change mid-match. So if your robot's in the toxic zone, like say you're on the blue alliance and you're in the red zone, you deal penalty points, which would be cool.
So I think that's more complicated than Power Up. This is gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a complicated game.
It could
this
be.
Year. It's gonna be
exciting.
Hard for new drivers and hard for rookie teams.
I agree.
But I honestly hope it's not, because I don't know why would they make that hard of a game. They're getting more rookie teams than ever next year. I think it's
really
like 300, 400.
Wow,
they're getting a lot.
That's crazy. Just see how much First has grown over the last few years is it's quite incredible. But this other post I see by CAD321 from 3739 The Oakbots says the toxic atmosphere must be something that's toxic / a threat to robots, and that's water. Water game confirmed.
Wait.
Whoa, just absolutely drop
there's
the mic
water
on
in
that.
the atmosphere.
Yeah. Ooh, water. Could it be a water game? I always thought it was going to be an air game.
I honestly don't think they would have anything that's a threat to your robot.
Deep space
it's
air
not,
game? Hold on.
Not battle bots.
Air game?
No.
Air game. Drone game.
Imagine
drone
the
game.
scenes.
But yeah, they definitely wouldn't have anything that's going to damage a robot.
No. Water games it's far, far away, I think. But that'd be
maybe 2020.
2020. That'd be amazing. So yeah, but I definitely think that the ever-changing landscape, it's going to be a lot like Stronghold.
I think there's
so
going to
that should be very exciting.
There's going to be like tiles in the floor that there's going to be like some maybe like small rocks, medium rocks, big rocks, and you're just going to have
like
the
land.
I don't know if you ever seen the videos of them testing the Curiosity rover, but they had all these like different like
they have that modular tank drive that can move up and down and adapt to the environment.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that teams are gonna have to look into for this game. But
That'd
honestly,
be very
I don't think
complicated,
there's not going to be any moving parts on the field. I'm pretty sure. But
I don't know.
it's like the scale moves, but it's like a passive move when you put scales on it.
That was the one problem with Power Up was that robots were hitting the scale and falling over. So I think
Also
that's gonna
getting
there won't
stuck
be a
on it
problem with that
and
this year.
just getting a ton
Yeah,
of
so
penalty points.
I honestly doubt that there's going to be moving parts on the field besides the robots.
It'd be cool to have a human player come back, like Steamworks, but
Yeah.
that
Like an astronaut
Yeah,
or like
Human player.
something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
but
Yeah.
I don't know because that didn't really work out too
I
well
think
at
they're going to
Steamworks.
try to recycle that.
Yeah.
That.
But yeah, so I have an interesting theory on what the end game could be, and I want to share this with you guys. So it'll be kind of like Steamworks in that you've got to climb up to drop like obviously not drop a door, but like you got to do something to let the astronaut onto the moon or the planet. So you're gonna have to like climb up to the something like.
Oh, so maybe
like
a
in
robot,
Steamworks, you climbed up to like the airship.
Like a hatch.
maybe
Yeah.
a robot is like a scout for the astronaut, and
Mhm.
the end game
Like a
is
rover.
you coming. and
Exactly.
letting that- that's
So like
that would be really interesting.
like send the rovers over and then seeing.
To help you down onto
Yeah,
the
yeah.
planet. That'd be cool. So
Oh,
be
that sounds
cool.
pretty cool.
yeah, we'll hopefully get more information on that
Well,
in the coming
teaser
weeks.
comes out in about 6 weeks.
Okay,
It's
cool.
14th of September. So
Yeah, so we'll probably come back to this topic whenever that comes out because
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Steamworks intro video long like back in my freshman year, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So next we can touch briefly on FLL and FLL Junior. That game their task got released a few days ago.
yesterday.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it looks like a really cool game. I think it's gonna definitely get kids excited because a lot of kids really like space. Or like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Like, I want to be an astronaut.
Yeah,
I know,
space and
I know. I
Legos.
used to always say that. Like,
I like that.
and the Star Wars Lego sets are always my favorite. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
really
I had
relevant,
I had a few Lego Star Wars sets.
Yeah.
I was mainly into the city Legos, but yeah, I had like all sorts of Legos.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So that's going to be exciting to see.
yeah,
all
obviously
the
we help
FLL
with
teams.
some FLL teams,
Yeah.
so we'll be able to experience some of that, and that'll be pretty cool. Not too much to touch on with that right now, but next and our last thing we'll talk about somewhat of a short podcast, but obviously it's so early on in the season we're not going to be able to get too much information, but hopefully we'll get more in the coming weeks. But yeah, WVRoX is coming up. Nick, can you tell us about WVRoX?
So WVRoX is a 26-hour and 14-minute robotics competition that takes place at West Virginia University. It's hosted by Mars Hall of Fame team 2614, and there's a lot of unique games that they make with it. So it's like it varies from your standard power-up games. So, for example, I know one of them is where 5 of the cubes out of how many cubes are on the field whenever they start have 5-pound weights in them. So they weigh more, and then they weigh more on the switch. So you have to put switcher scale. So you have to put more cubes on the other side of the scale for it to weigh. And then another thing that could cause problems for some teams because they would need to turn their power up for.
Yeah, I was thinking that
Like-
for us because we've got to flip it.
Yeah.
That should
No
be
pun
interesting.
intended. They have to turn their power up. Like they have to turn it up so that it's going to be able to support a 5-pound plus 5 pounds weight when they're dumping.
the
Yeah.
power
I think,
cube.
is that around double? I'm not sure how much a cube weighs, but I would assume it's around 5 pounds.
I thought it was like around 3.
Yeah,
Something like
I think
that.
it's
But that's
under,
definitely a big.
under
Yeah,
5.
it's going to be
big
different,
difference.
but yeah, it'll obviously help you score more points because the opponent will have to put in more cubes.
Yeah, that's right.
So that'll be interesting. And also, there's a mentor match, or a couple,
There's a few.
for teams to allow their mentors to
I
drive
think
the
it's also
robot.
parents too.
Parents, robot, and mentors. I think that would be really
It's gonna
cool
be
because, like,
fun to see.
obviously
It's gonna
they
be funny to
they
watch.
donate so much time to help teams. It'd be cool to see them at least get a couple one match or however many matches there are. Each team gets to do that, so that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see at like the 22-hour mark, just all the people
Yeah,
just like
that's when I'm gonna crash.
walking around like zombies.
I'm gonna crash
gonna
around
be
the
good.
22 hour mark, so that'd be cool. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. 24 teams going, so it's gonna be. It's an endurance event, so it's gonna be really different. We've never done anything like that before, so it'll be something pretty cool. And I actually have a list of all the teams going, if I can find it. Here it is. So we have obviously Mars, the Mountaineer Area Robotics, Quasix, 2656 Siege Robotics, Girls of Steel, and their chairman's team, Robotics Fayu. Is that their That's their second team
Yeah, I
going.
don't know if the chairman.
There's
the
another
right word
chairman.
for it. I don't
Is
know if chairman is the right word for it. Yeah, that's like their second team.
Okay.
Basically. That's like they
Alright.
use that in off seasons and stuff.
Okay. Parts 3492. The Flying Platypi 2655. Secret City Wildbots 4265. The Tin Mints. Children of the Swamp. Us. 1629. Gakko?
I think it's Gakko.
Gakko? Okay. I'm not good at pronouncing team names. Delphi Elite 48. The Robo Jackets. Bovine Intervention. Lakota Robotics. The Titanium Titans. Full Metal Jackets. McDonough Robotics. McDonough. Or,
Something like
yeah.
that.
Luke's got it. The Robodiators. I'm so bad at pronouncing this.
Robodiators.
Robodiators.
Yeah, that's a cool number.
Wait.
888.
Yeah. Griffin Robotics, Hilltoppers, Bonds, and Sharp. So some of these teams we know from the WoW area.
So there's a lot of good.
A lot of good teams.
A lot of good representation.
A lot of teams
Small
with
round.
Wow district.
banners. But yeah.
Feels bad.
So something I was thinking on doing to end this off was predictions on who the top 8 seeds would be.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, we
I'm
could
gonna
go through
say
whole line selections, but that'd be tough.
Number one, I'm going to say Mars.
Mars is number one.
Mars won
two-
every regional except for
Number
Black Eye.
2, I'm going to say it's going to be,
Delphi.
yeah, Delphi, maybe. And then I'm going to say Sharp's going to pull it out for number 3.
Sharp with the
Then I'm going to say
third.
Girls of Steel 4. I'm not going to put us in the top 8 because we're just going to choke.
Yeah.
Parts.
Actually, no,
Parts
I'm
is
gonna
gonna
say-
be
I'm gonna
Parts
put-
is gonna be number
I'm
3.
going to put Parts above Sharp.
So parts 3, Sharp 4,
Parts
Goss 5.
Goss 5. Let's see here. Then I'd say
I think Bonds will probably get up there.
Bonds. I didn't say is number 8 because they're usually around that.
I don't know any of these other teams.
I don't know all these, so I'm just going off what I
We'll
know.
just
here.
put us as we'll put us as number 7.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the
We'll
Trojan
pull it
is
out of the
number
bag.
7. Oh yeah.
All right, yeah. So I think the number 1 is going to be Mars.
Yeah, definitely.
They're
Yeah, Mars is definitely the strongest team going there.
obviously. Second, I'm going to put Children of the Swamp,
Okay.
179. Third will be the Flying Platypi.
Did
Fourth,
they win some kind of? They're a Michigan team, right?
the Flying Platypi.
I don't think so.
Here, I'll look
They
it up.
won- yeah, they won
they're
some-
North Carolina.
Oh.
They won Chairman's Award, and then a district, and then the touring division
Yeah.
at World. So they're
They're up
good.
there.
Overall, it's 51 and 35 for first matches, so that's pretty good. Fourth, I'll put Parts. Fifth, Girls of Steel. They're 35-4, not the second team. Fifth, I'll go with
48.
48 Delphi Elite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sixth, I'll go with Quasix.
Quasix.
Pull it out of the bag.
All
They'll-
right.
They'll do it. Seventh, I'll go with the Robo Jackets, and eighth will be Bovine Intervention.
All right.
Yeah,
Not believing in us at all, Thomas.
yeah, I totally got it.
All right.
Heard it here first. So, yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap up what we have to say here. Unless any of you guys got anything else to say at the end here.
Right.
I think that's all.
Yeah, so next time we'll probably go over some of the stuff about the first FRC schedule.
Maybe the teaser.
Yeah, the teaser, depending on.
How long we wait to do the next one.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be somewhat soon. Hopefully we'll have a guest star from a
Different
nearby
team.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, or an alumni mentor.
Yeah.
We'll see. I've been Thomas,
I'm Lou.
And I've been Nicholas.
and we'll see you next time.